Hey John, can I borrow a pencil?
You may.
Thank you, sir.
You got it. You have one over there, Tom? What? Estilo?
Un lápiz. Erase.
Just making sure.
So you guys remain, at least for now, in the northern woods, having observed the fact of the departure of Leifar's wife, Radmula, away from this place. Having met with her familiar that she has left behind for your benefit.
That's right. I'd kind of forgotten since it's been 2 weeks since we played.
Yeah. And so you guys remain within the North Woods, like I say, northwest of Tehuta Pass. A little bit kind of in enemy territory, but not quite. So it's kind of left up to you guys if you guys still want to poke around with any of this kind of stuff, or if we want to just head forward with things.
Well, are we looking for Radamula to bring back to...
Well, apparently she imparted some information to the bird, and that should be helpful with what we were trying to accomplish. Well, what Lord Volsa requested of us about the blighted lands. So,
Yeah, Lord Volsa was asking us to see if she would come and speak with him. But,
That answer is no now.
yeah, that's going to be somewhat complicated due to the fact that we don't know where she is. Well, not directly.
I guess putting it like this. She's not on this plane. We can't get to that plane. You probably can't get to that plane. You could try. Probably not that important.
What was the bird's message exactly? I don't remember.
It was like, seek the horizon or follow the
No,
horizon.
the bird
that was
is
where
the
she-
bird is sentient.
and she gave the bird information that would be useful in combating the blighted lands. Is the impression that I got.
She just gave the bird a bunch of information.
Yeah.
She's basically taught it a bunch of stuff.
I suspect there's not much for it then. We should see if this creature has the information that Lord Valsa is hoping.
It is the best we could do.
Do you think there's anything else Radamola might have left you? Ask the bird, perhaps. I don't know.
There was nothing in the cabin.
I'm assuming you already looked on the other side of the veil.
Yes, there was nothing.
Nothing for it then. Who should go?
She will return when and if she needs to.
If there's anything I know about your dear wife is that she is resourceful. When she wishes to find you, she will.
Precisely.
Let's not waste any more time here. That I turn. So I'm going back to where we came.
All right.
Is the bird coming with us?
Of course it is.
Okay.
Riding that horse.
Okay. So you guys make your journey back. You're heading all the way back to Belgrade. All right. Upon reaching Belgrade, the prince has visitors. 2 travelers who report that they are familiar with her and her fellows by the names of Anatole, the prophet of God, and Lucita de Aragon of Spain.
That's you. This is your report.
Okay.
You see to your
Hi.
guests then.
Offer greetings.
Where do you want to meet with them?
I guess probably in the banquet hall or where do we normally, is that where I normally meet with everybody?
You meet with people in lots of different places, so I'm asking you. It doesn't really matter. It's just, you know,
Yeah, the banquet hall is fine.
the banquet hall. Yeah. Your banquet hall, if I remember correctly, has got the big long table or the big U table?
The biggie.
The big U table. Yeah, that's what I remember is the big U table.
Yeah.
And it's somewhat sparse on light.
Uh-huh.
Stained glass.
Yeah.
Open windows in case there are random visitors,
Yes. We have many of those.
to include giant birds.
Yes.
Giant birds that turn into Vikings.
Lucita and Anatole sit at one of this table on the right side, with their backs to the windows, and they're just sitting quietly, probably not even partaking of anything.
It's good to see you escape the conflict unscathed. The conclave, rather.
Lucita, leans forward and kind of moves her cloak off of her shoulders some. Yes, I have the feeling that there was something more afoot than we could perceive. And while the anarchs that attacked the conclave were brutal and efficient, they were outmatched.
Hopelessly so.
Yes. I do not know that anyone perished in the fire. Perhaps some of the servants.
Small miracle then.
I believe after the events of that night, we can surmise that there were, in fact, multiple someones trying to initiate the conflict. I would posit that, first of all, we determined that somebody was attempting to use Stanislaw? Was that the Brewhaw's name?
Stanislaw.
Yes, I remember him.
He had a personal conflict with Dominus, as can be expected between one of the Brewhaw and the Ventru, and somebody was looking to engineer an incident.
While they're talking, pouring them both refreshments and hand them over.
We had managed to diffuse that situation somewhat, and it looked like possibly going towards a peaceful resolution when the anarchs showed up. So it is possible, there are one or two possibilities. Either there are multiple parties at work that saw the conflict, or whoever it was that sought the conflict.
I think
Covered
that
themselves in both sides.
I think that confirms that there are people who want peace. That is not truly and only duplicity.
The fact that I, who am not the most social of people, was able to talk Stanislaw out of an unfortunate incident should speak to that, and I would agree.
That is the nature of our visit.
You know of others who sue for peace then?
Many. We have traveled wide across these lands, and despite the tumult that occurred at the convocation, it truly made me feel that there were, despite the differences and the petty arguments, that there's people seeking peace.
They could have easily been at each other's throats right off the bat there.
Many times. Certainly when the anarchs attacked, they had good cause to attack one another as well, and did not. Perhaps they thought it wise to attack their enemies at a future time, but perhaps also that comes simultaneously with the hope of peace. maybe I am idealistic, but this is why I have come, because there is another type of meeting like this, only much grander, much larger. And Anatole and I are traveling the lands with the hope that we might persuade people to go to this gathering, to speak their minds. Not all who go will be able to cast a vote in any of the things that are being decided, but the fact that there is anyone there who is voting, whose ear could be turned or heard.
What is the purpose of this gathering?
To try to attempt some kind of peace with the anarchs.
And who is initiating this?
There's a number of individuals who are initiating it. Among them, Harstadt of the Ventru.
So is the Camarilla that are doing this.
Yes.
And what are your thoughts on this Camarilla?
It makes me hopeful, but it's obvious that Harstadt is an arrogant, self-possessed tyrant. But he is a tyrant who is proposing to vote himself a part of a council, who's diminishing his own power. It is compelling.
Is at least wise enough to play the long game. The thing that many of the, well, at least the most vocal and visible of the anarchs do not seem to realize is that there's no sense in having any power if there's no one to exercise it over.
Well, in a council, you consolidate power and you have a council. It's not so much losing power. It is gaining more power if that can cover more people.
Well, this
And better to have a seat at the council's table than to be the singular wielder of that power and have hidden blades behind your back at all times.
perhaps it is wise politically for him to do so. I cannot see any other way for him, but they wish to create peace with the anarchs, not to destroy them, not to subjugate them.
I think that's wise. I think that the ones that we witnessed at the convocation were the outliers, the most violent and aggressive. I believe better of our kind than to think that they represented all of these anarchs.
I think better of our kind to think that we could fight a civil war for all of eternity. Certainly it is longer than any other mortal war, but can we not find a way to end it?
There is wisdom in that, and there is wisdom in discussion. However, being subject to such a council, as we discussed amongst ourselves, is not something I wish to embark upon.
Well, your voice is one that should be heard in that convocation.
Then I say we go.
There are many different viewpoints, and I believe that when our people come together and speak those viewpoints, we could come to a consensus together. Compromises will be made, yes, but it is better than war. There are so many that have died. Friends who would stand on both sides of this conflict of mine have died. For what?
It is senseless.
Sweeping across the mortal world, we see more and more people coming together to rule themselves in some way. I think the Camarilla is another attempt to do that. I don't know how the best way to do that. But at its core, I think there's sense in it. But it should not be executed, as you say, Jakub, as simply just a group of individuals that wield unlimited power over others, which is why voices should be. It is not about the elite having control over others. It is about us having a voice with each other. So I simply wish to persuade you to travel to this convocation and speak your voice.
For my part, you need no further persuasion. I can't speak for my friends, of course.
I'm curious, though I'm certainly with the idea. Is anyone outright opposing it?
I'm sure that there are anarchs there that will be very vocal, but it's my hope that
I mean the meeting itself.
I do not know, but I feel like it will not have the outcome that was had at the Hermannstadt meeting. The Hermannstadt meeting was a meeting of elders. This is not.
It would have to not be to bring them to the table.
I have been told that invitations have been accepted from chief anarch leaders.
That's way too loud, please turn it down.
And it gives me hope.
I find this amusing. Anarch leaders.
I wonder if they're the Diablerists.
Would not anarchs by definition have no leader?
Look.
There are those among them that are more influential than others.
Perhaps influence of ideas over influence of blood.
And perhaps anarchy is their flag, but not their true method.
So they may be hypocrites, is what you're saying. We'll see.
They oppose that blood is the only source of power. Yes?
I suppose.
I think not only is it wise for us to attend this meeting, but I feel like we have an obligation to do so. As individuals with lifespans that are, well, barring unfortunate circumstances, unlimited, the decisions we make have an effect not just on us, but on mortals as well. We cannot play with their lives and treat them as things of naught just because they live but a few decades. We have a responsibility not only to our fellow Cainites, but to the mortals as well, to see that this conflict sees some sort of resolution. Because the price is paid not only in Cainite blood, but in the blood of the sons of Abel as well.
Well, Cain himself foresaw some of these things.
I believe you mean the sons of Seth.
Sure, that too.
Well, I would hear what the rest of you have to say. Some of you have not spoken.
I think we should hear them out. I don't agree with it, but who knows? Maybe they may change my mind.
And it's not about agreeing with it, it's about discussing it.
Yeah, I'm willing to discuss it.
As far as I know, I'm to follow you all to whatever it leads to. As far as opinion about whatever they're forming, I don't think I'm informed enough of the politics of the Canaanites.
A wise answer.
Or Canaanites.
Amy,
Do what?
your thoughts?
I think we should go and see.
Then
We
we're
went to
in,
the other one, and all hell broke loose.
Then
So
we
like
are
we
in
couldn't handle
agreement.
ourselves, so I think we should definitely go and see what's up.
I cannot arrange for you to be honored guests with votes, but to be invited guests. The convention will occur in the English town of Thorns in 1 year.
Quite a journey ahead of us then. Will you be in attendance?
I will.
I greatly look forward to seeing you there.
It will be quite the reunion.
Of that I have no doubt. Probably of many faces we have not seen in many decades.
I fear that there will be many new faces that you will have to acquaint yourself with.
And unfortunately, many that we will be missing.
Yes. Anatole and I are traveling all of these lands, persuading as many as we can to attend. I would send messenger to Thorns to secure lodging and to let them know that you have accepted the invitation that I have extended. Upon speaking my name, they will know the truth of it.
We'll see that it's done.
I'm happy. Thank you.
Of course. We're about.
With that, unfortunately, our visit must be brief. We have many voices to hear and to tell this tale to.
It has been, as always, a pleasure. You need anything before you go?
Anatole? And the two of them will stand up and walk out.
I'll see them out.
So I don't remember doing any of the things you said I did. Is there another Stanislaw that you were talking about?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He was a Bruja, somewhat unpleasant fellow.
I'm glad we have less similar to each other.
Quite abrasive. And with a very large grudge against the Ventru.
Doesn't everybody?
around.
With the exception of Nova, I have had little to do with him.
All right. So how are you guys gonna prepare for your travel?
Well,
First, send a messenger.
Yeah.
Send the messenger.
Yes. Let's not forget that.
Yes.
yes, and
And so we're in Transylvania. Or
Right.
Belgrade.
We're in your city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to go where in England?
Thorns.
That's a hike.
So it's southern England near the channel.
Yeah. That's a hike.
It's a long way.
Yeah.
And some
It's
boat
a
rides.
real long way.
That's some boat rides. That's some long carriage rides. That's like a whole. No wonder it's gonna be next year.
Yeah, it's next year.
Perhaps.
we had business with Lord Volsa before that, though.
Yeah, we do.
Paging Lord Volsa. Paging Lord Volsa. I know your responsive is on time, but
We can send it out anyway.
well, I just do the summit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Send out the pulse
Yeah.
and say.
That's what he
"Please-
was saying in
please
cheeky
come
fashion."
Visit.
Yeah.
Please come visit. We have information for you.
Lord Volsa to the customer service desk. Lord Volsa to the customer service desk.
Lord Volsa, you have a call on the white courtesy phone.
No,
No, the white phone. Okay, enough of that. No more
Yeah,
airplane.
don't get me doing Office Space, man. I'm really good at it.
So, I suppose we have preparations to make.
Would you prefer to go by boat the whole way?
What would be the most expeditious? I don't suppose that really matters. We have plenty of time. A year. Oh, it's quite a while. David would know the most expeditious route.
Yes, he would.
Though, what I know of your husband, it does not sound like he has occasion much to travel to England. I'm sure that he knows these things.
No, but I'm sure he has enough information from other people that he has sent that way. I will go find him.
I also realize passing Constantinople through the water is probably impossible. So that won't be an option.
Myself, if it were only me, I could be there in a few weeks. But of course, it is not only me.
Should we go north through Lithuania? Just take through south of Scandinavia?
Watching my garage be prepared.
Any idea? David comes strolling in. The servant spoke of travel?
Yes. In a year, there is another, how shall I put it, meeting of the monarchies.
Oh,
And we must travel to Thorns in England.
England?
England, I know, it's quite a while.
Dreadful.
I know. I have not been there myself, but I have heard many tales and it's not the best.
I have heard that it is wet and uncomfortable.
Yes.
It's been several years though. It's not that bad.
Huh. Perhaps I have merely fallen prey to traders' tales.
So, bad, but not that bad.
No, I rather enjoyed it myself.
Yes, it's
Well-
quite a bit warmer for him where he's from.
True.
There are
It's not getting
several
cold, though.
approaches that might one take. You could travel the east road, then north and south and west by sea. You could attempt to go south and take the long sea voyage around Italy and Spain and then north to England. That would probably be the most comfortable route, but the longest. You could also take carriage the entire stretch going from Bucharest up north into France and across a short journey. There is a short bit of sea between the island of England and France and Denmark.
Could you not simply travel west to the Danube and then sail all the way up to the Baltic? That would be a relatively short trip.
Yes, but the winters can be harsh.
Then we would travel in summer.
What do you suggest is the best? Not so much the easiest, but
What time of year is this meeting going to be taking place? In
The
1 year-
meeting-
1 year from now.
1 year from now, so October.
Okay. Well, the winter shouldn't be too bad that time of year.
Well, is it your mean to arrive there in 1 year's time, or do you wish to arrive early?
I don't know. I've not thought about that. We were just trying to figure out the best route.
It is oftentimes our company's habit to arrive 1 to 1.5 years early before a meeting of this type for the purpose of setting up bases and camps and all of that, but I do not know how many people you wish to bring with you, or if this is going to be a journey you're going to wish to undertake again. I am more experienced with setting up routes than to taking a smaller number of people along them.
Well, I know we need to meet with Lord Valsa before any of this because we have.
Certainly that could be done within a few nights' time.
Yeah, if he shows up.
Yes, of course, if he shows up.
Pax has sent out the summons for him, so hopefully he will come in a relatively short amount of time and then make preparations to leave. I would imagine we need to leave relatively soon to make it on time so that we have, adequate time to set up and.
I think the longest voyage, the sea voyage to the south around the continent would be the longest, perhaps 6 months.
Oh wow, okay.
But that is the longest, the most
Yeah.
leisurely
That's
route.
a long time on a boat too.
It is,
I'm not exactly fond of boats.
but as I say, I think it would be the most leisurely route.
Yes. I trust you, my love. You have done this far more than I.
So he quickie sketches it out for you.
Okay.
Those are the routes.
Thunder.
So we would have to go here and then.
Look that way. What they're talking about going this way. Yeah. And he's like, oh, that's cold. But then you're like, oh, maybe it's summer. And then there's also talk about going this way.
I'm sure it's not demons or anything.
Yeah, all the way.
Yeah, I'd rather avoid needles.
No.
Yeah.
Although one demon in 10,000 hells turned out to not be so bad.
Okay.
Essentially, as far as the game is concerned, is like, do you want to take the hard, short road, or do you want to take the long, leisurely road? Is
Yeah.
basically what it comes down to.
Okay.
And how much sailing do you want to do versus how much going across the ground do you want to do?
All right.
Not really a super important decision, but
Yeah. No, but I presented to, I think, David, and I said I will take it back to, if you would like to sit in, if you would like to join us and come on this voyage, you may.
I will travel anywhere that you require of me, my love.
So, well then let's go back to the banquet hall and let's discuss with with the rest of our kinsmen.
Yeah, you can go do that, man. We can play that scene in a second, too. Okay,
While we're sitting there. Thomas,
So,
you think you'll be taking any of your following with you?
Yes, but not many. Just 4.
I have to admit, I've watched you shepherd these unusual fellows for not some few years now, and I'm curious, what is it that, what motivates you? What is your interest in them? I don't think
Well-
it's something we've ever actually discussed.
Well, originally, it was to. They seemed willing to come. I thought, why not? Now my interest is more in what sort of magics they are, how it works, where they come from, how it differs from us, and how we may be able to use that to our advantage or disadvantage.
So not just knowledge for knowledge's sake, then.
Correct.
You would have them as a weapon of sorts?
No,
Tool,
most,
perhaps, is a better description?
oh no weapon, for sure. For the most part, I seek to protect them.
Ah. Protect them.
Yes.
Do you think you'll ever return them to the Dolmen Wood?
Oh, most of them are still in the Dolan Wood. Just a few come in and out with me. I keep a few here, just the ones who
The ones who wanted to go back went back. The ones who wanted to stay in Belgrade stayed. But the ones who stayed were informed that the magics of this world is leaving, and what they are used to doing may no longer work, and they may be, over the next couple of years, just as powerless as humans.
I'm just curious. Do they know the source of these magics?
I think some do, but not all.
If they're magic.
There is no real structure to their society in the Dolomwood. So information is not passed on from generation to generation. That is something I have taken upon myself to guide them along, help them with.
If their magic comes from the same sources as Radamula's, that is the collective belief of people.
From what I understand, the source of the magic comes from the emotions, positive and negative, of the humans on this side. And the strength of those emotions powers their magics.
Emotions or belief or both?
Emotions. Great love or great pain, as in torture.
So if their strength is fading, that means that perhaps people are tending to become more rational and less emotional.
Probably.
Do you think there's merit to that thought?
There is, and that's something that's a question that we hope to answer.
Interesting. But the ones who remain behind, there is no fading, no decline there.
No, they just draw from the emotions as they always have.
Interesting. Who would have thought when we first met in Constantinople these many years ago, me, a fresh-faced Canaanite, still very much young and idealistic, and you,
Apprentice stonemason.
apprentice stonemason, would be here standing discussing magics wielded by men from another world.
I would not have imagined it myself.
That is strange. Well, I thank you for that information. As I said, I've been watching for a while and wondering what your intent was with these men.
I consider them much like the humans. I don't consider them as food. I consider them as, like the children of Seth, as a people to be protected.
Yes. They are. They're not from our world. Most definitely mortal.
Yes.
That's intriguing.
How would you say that your magic differs from theirs?
My magic is the power of the blood. I don't... Well, perhaps... If some magic comes from belief, perhaps it is the collective belief of our kind that gives it power. I don't know, though.
Do you think that you gain some ability from having similarly minded people around you?
I have not had similarly minded people around me, at least
Even
in
to-
regards to the magic.
There must be some truth to the lore of the strength of the blood. For if you look at the circumstances of the three of us in particular, we knew nothing of Canaanite lore. And when we were embraced, we were changed. The three of us were imparted with wildly different abilities, disciplines of our clans. And we knew nothing of the lore of our clans. We knew nothing of a great many things.
It is not your belief that is required.
But my point, though, is that it's not due to a belief shared by the people you're surrounded with, as you would posit. Otherwise, would not our powers be similar?
Yes, I have had this discussion many times with Radamola. The difference between the power that we draw and the power that she drew. She shapes the world to her own will. It is very much an effort of the magic user to decide how those energies are shaped. In our case, it is drawn from the blood and has nothing to do with what we wish to happen, so much as what the blood allows us to do.
I feel that their analogy then would be reversed of what they had said before, of your wife's power is that of the sky. We are the tree and they are the fungus. It feels much more that we are the fungus, they are the sky, and she is the tree. The roots change the world, cover it, disguise it however it wishes, and build it however it wants. The air, fickle and whimsy, moves through the trees, collecting what it can, the branches of the trees being human, and us the fungus, eating everything.
You must understand, I have traveled around these different countries much more than the rest of you, and I have seen what is going on out there. And many people are turning away from things like the old beliefs, the ways that we were raised as we were younger, and towards the beliefs in science and knowledge. And many people, where before, remained illiterate and stupid, happy to live in their hovels and give whatever their lords doled out to them. Many of them
And
are learning
susceptible to superstition.
precisely, and many of them now have been taught to read and are reading the books, which is only recently the Christian scripture has been made available to people other than priests. Before, the people relied on whatever the priest told them. It's no longer the case. The collective consciousness, if you will, is changing. And along with it, the magics that those like Ravenula draw upon. Whereas ours seem to be unaffected. That itself should supply plenty of proof.
Ours are seemingly as unchanging as we ourselves are.
Do you think your powers a part of your identity?
I think they are certainly shaped by my identity.
As anything else, it's how you use them. But if I were to go out right now, find the appropriate mortal, and grant them the embrace, they would be able to learn the powers of the gangrel as easily as I do, regardless of who they might have been before. They would take to those powers naturally.
Use what you have to your advantage. That's what any are doing.
Certainly you would be hard-pressed to find another of the blood of the Setite who behaves and believes as I do.
I have met few of your kind.
I've met only one. Well, two if you include my sire.
I've only met the one. And only briefly.
It was quite interesting.
Ketal. Yes. I wish I'd had time to speak with him at the convocation before we'd been so rudely interrupted. Yes, he's an interesting fellow. He is one... I trust him only to tell me the truth. But I do not trust him.
Is this the one you met, or the sire?
The one that I met. We met long ago in Constantinople. And again more recently. Though, as I said, I did not have a chance to renew that acquaintance. We were so rudely interrupted by a bunch of crossbow wielding anarchs. Fanatics, let's be more specific.
I would be curious to meet my sire again, if he still lives. I have not seen him since shortly after my embrace. This is the way of our kind. The gangrel. They embrace those of us, those humans who are strong enough to survive. Give them minimal instruction and expect them to survive on their own. Which is what I did.
I'm quite glad I have not met thine again. I might tear his throat out.
I can understand your trepidation.
How about
you,
politics?
you and I and Emmy are far from typical as far as Childer goes. Or a sire.
Oh, but I hear Childer Desire can be pretty negative.
Definitely.
True enough, but I've also heard that they can be positive too. Myself and Jin have a good rapport. I don't know where he is now. He left some time while I was gone.
Probably back to the Middle Kingdom, I'd imagine.
Yes, this place is very strange for him, and he would draw much attention.
I'm sure he's finding his own path of the hero there. Or at least path of the sword.
Who's this?
Jin.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about the crazy guy with
Master Chow?
the... Yeah.
Have you any other questions, Stanislaw? Given what we've discussed.
No, I think that is, at least for this conversation, settled. For the moment, I've learned a decent amount from each of you and have embraced my own theory for the time being. I'm sure during our journey we'll have plenty of time to talk about the politics for the journey that we're making anyways. Since I'm sure you all want to hear everybody's opinion on what to do with who and what and which side you support for what reason.
As long as you're in our company, feel free to speak your mind.
There will be no recriminations.
We have known each other for many years and are far from in agreement on all things. But here we still are.
It is wise to keep the company of those that do not always agree. Learn new perspectives
Yes.
and new things.
That is very true. For if you surround yourselves only with people who believe as you do, the end result is fanaticism. As we have seen, both from the Anarchs
We get the anarchs, yeah.
and from the Inquisition. I once had unwavering faith in the church. Now my faith lies in God, but not in the church. Not of a thing that is driven by the will of a man.
Indeed, most churchmen would not see themselves fit to consort with a pagan such as myself, but we have gotten on quite well over the centuries.
Most churchmen would call me a blasphemer and burn me at the stake.
They wield their power.
But God sees what I do, and He knows my heart. Unbeating though it may be.
So you had something? What are you going to do?
I am going to discuss our travels with my 4 men and ask if they've heard of anyone that has either stumbled into the Dolanwood through the hedge.
Where are they hanging out?
Oh, they're at the door of the banquet hall. They're not with us talking. They're just
Well,
standing.
they might as well be with you if they're at the door of the damn banquet hall. So you got them like following real close behind you everywhere you go,
Yes.
including the man who got his eye tore out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he's alive.
Yeah, he's alive.
Yeah, we were able to stabilize him last time.
Messed
I
up.
didn't know how special he was now.
Little
lost
messed
that.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, knew the eye.
And
Learn
he
not to run
probably
off
brings
again.
in a map from the bead's office. Says, "Gentlemen, gather round."
Yeah.
He's told me David has shown us multiple paths that we can take.
So you're just
And
gonna call them in?
I'm gonna call them in.
Okay. Yeah, they come in, and they've got what? It's like black robes or black and red robes, or all red robes.
All red.
All red. All red robes with a big cloak that comes like way like down over their head. They have monk-like discipline where they keep like half of their face covered all the time with shadow. And they approach. What are their? Do you have names for them all?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. What are their names?
Zaxis, with the one eye.
Zaxis with the one eye.
Hormy, Gorak, and Pasalik.
Is there like a any kind of disposition difference between the four of them? I know a little bit about the guy that put his eye out, that had his eye put out because I put his eye out. But the other guys, is there like, what kind of guys are they like?
Pretty stoic.
They're gonna be stoic.
Unlike the rest of the Druid that are just all over the place, they've been with me the longest, so they know to keep their place.
Yeah, and they've come descended from the first room that came over, so they've learned to be real somber and real chill.
Correct.
Okay.
And two of them have been ghouled, so.
Two of them, which two?
Gorak and Polisic.
Okay.
There's always been.
Okay, cool. So, which one is the speaker of the group?
Gorak.
Gorax.
Yeah.
Interesting name. Gorax steps forward from amongst the four. Yes, master. What do you wish?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
During our time in the Dolan Wood, have you ever heard from any of the other Druun of anyone stumbling in from a place called England, or has anyone been taken or come through the Trod at any point? Have you heard of anything like this?
Through the Trod, there are those that pass from this world of darkness into the Dolan Wood, but those of the Dolan Wood did not leave. Many of those that cross are not living folk, but spirits, gnomes, pixies, things of the like that wish to leave this dark place.
Correct. But have there been any stories of any mortals taken from the mortal realm? It is a common practice, but I don't know if I've ever heard of anyone from England.
No, master. Perhaps there are those among the lords of the Dolan Wood that would know of such a thing, for that is their purview. There are those that are taken of mortal stock from the Dolan Wood to the Lord's keeps, but I do not know if the lords of the Dolan Wood have extended their reach to this world.
So is this a conversation you're having with us around?
He's right there in the dining hall.
Yeah.
I know what you're getting at. Perhaps we should converse with the spirits in the Dolmen Wood.
I don't know if we should speak to the spirits, but the lords, they would certainly know if there were any other trods, and if any of those trods led to where we need to go or close to.
No, or even closer.
Correct.
That could save us months of travel.
Correct. If such a path exists.
An interesting thought.
Were you not captured the last time you spent any amount of time there and I had to find all of you and bring you back to life?
At that time, yes. But at the moment, there are no evil warlocks or other malicious beasts in the areas that I roamed during my time there.
And it's shameful to admit we were careless.
And I've heard of the lords, and I've kept my distance from them during that time.
You've spent
I
much
know
time there.
Other lands connected to the Dolam Wood, but none of these lands are England. There is the Midderland,
The Midderland?
yes.
What can you tell me of the Midderland?
The Midderland is a place beset by foulness from beneath the earth, green vapors and strange meteors from the sky.
That doesn't sound like any place we want to go.
Fortunately, we don't breathe, but I don't quite.
Far to the north, there is Hyperborea, a great land that exists beyond the ice.
These lands are other worlds. They're not this world.
No, not this dark world, no.
There are no other paths to this dark world that you know of.
We have never seen them, which is why we follow the masters so devoutly. For we are afraid that we will never have the opportunity to leave the Dolam Wood again.
The lords may know other ways.
Yes, but they are fickle, treacherous.
That was going to be my next question.
Seems the safest route is to just travel the old-fashioned way.
Canaanite lords are more stable, superior, consistent. You establish life. They create chaos.
They're Fae.
The Fey Lords, yes.
We should avoid dealing with them.
Agreed.
The idea had merit, but I don't see it as being one that is practical or feasible.
They like to play tricks as a matter of course, find great amusement and such. I don't think that would be a good idea. It'd be unwise.
And you
Well,
didn't
the
find any
lesser
others.
Fae will play lesser tricks. The Fae Lords, I'm sure they have some marvelous tricks they would play on us.
Well,
And I'm sure we'd have some marvelous tricks to show them.
The Droon have always been in opposition to the Fey Lords, even before the coming of the Canaanites.
We would not treat with them.
I guess we were in agreement.
It was our belief until we encountered the Canaanites that all who were eternal would be mad. That mortality caused one to have the perspective to have a stable mind. Because the Fey Lords are so mad themselves, immortal, living forever.
I think if one were to forget to live so long, even as a Canaanite, as to forget what it was like to be mortal, one can very easily be taken by madness.
You think you are at risk of madness, Lords?
I endeavor to remember what it was like to be mortal.
I am still too young.
I think to abandon one's mortality completely requires a willful act.
I am not even sure if the Lords of the Dolmen were ever humans.
some of us have much pain and sadness as mortals and wish to leave that behind.
That sounds a good thing.
This new life has offered things I would never have thought possible as a mortal. And I embrace that. Given the opportunity, I would not go back.
Well, that is not the question, but no matter how many years separate you from it, you must admit that your mortal life shaped who you are now.
That is true.
And to forget that is to forget what it was like to be mortal. that path lies madness.
Sometimes I think it would be good to forget, though.
I think all of us feel that way sometimes.
I would not. To forget is to learn nothing.
Just so. Thus, sometimes.
Never.
When you have experienced great tragedies in your life, sometimes forgetting seems to be preferable.
My family was taken away too. And I was left with this leg. But I got away with my life.
Well, now that we've settled that, I suppose there is one thing I could offer you all. How would you like to learn English?
Yes.
Well, we have the time.
It would be beneficial to know the language. Many there do not speak our tongues.
And there be a great benefits. We have had cause to learn a few languages through the years. I think you'll find us apt pupils.
In all these years, I have yet to think of you as a teacher.
Come now,
Today is
Thomas,
the day.
I have taught you many things.
Well, that's ridiculous. Why, he taught me to harness the eyes of the beast, to
I
see
mean, in the sense of
embrace the earth.
academics.
Now, teaching someone the disciplines of the blood is a greater feat than teaching someone academics.
Correct, but the disciplines are far more entertaining.
Then it pleases me to be able to teach both.
Correct?
Yes, master.
You and the others will learn English as well.
Yes, master.
Looks like I'm giving
We will do as you command.
Good.
I would like to buy some butter and some cheese. I apologize.
Zorak takes his hood off of his head.
Okay. Do you have something to say?
Why?
Why what?
Why do we learn this thing?
Well, I plan on traveling, and I plan on taking you all with me. And it's best when traveling to a new land to learn the language.
Why should I follow you?
No.
Well,
Why do you follow him?
I have spent several weeks recuperating, gaining my health.
yeah. That's X's.
Zaxxas, yeah, that's the one
Yeah.
I meant. Did I say the wrong name?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's the guy.
Well, do you consider yourself not in the condition to travel? If so, you can stay behind.
I am in the condition to travel, but I don't understand all of this.
What don't you understand?
I don't understand these people that used to be my people from the Dolmen Wood
Mm-hmm.
and why they worship you. I don't understand why it is that you speak of this conflict. I do not understand why it is that your light is so weak. I do not understand what exactly it is that you are, because it appears to me that you are something dark and not altogether safe.
You are correct. But under my charge, I've kept your people safe. We first.
Your other three guys are like moving slowly, like really far away from this guy right now.
Despite all our power and all of our immortality, are we not still men? Do we not appear the same at least? And any man, any human, any mortal, can perform both great good and great evil, can we not?
You do not appear the same to my eye.
How so?
As I say, your light is dark. It is dim.
Dimmer than before, or dimmer compared to who?
Compared to my brothers.
It's because
Compared to the stable master. Compared to the hound master.
It's because we are not the same. But as I said, regardless, have our intentions ever been anything but good to you?
What is it that you are then? I know Canaanite is the word. Lords that live forever, that liberate us from the dolmen, but what is that? My brothers are so enraptured with you that they never ask questions. Never question.
Correct, because I've given them all the answers that they've sought. Just like their ancestors who sought knowledge, we brought them back. I taught them everything I could.
They never discovered your nature out of fear of you. But I do not fear your darkness. I see its danger. And I would know what you are. Truly.
I am someone who has your best interest in mind.
Do you?
Correct. If I did not, I would not have reopened the Dolomwood and given your people the opportunity to go back of their own free will. I don't use bonds, I don't use chains, I don't use blood curses.
They are bound.
Yes, because they have chosen. You were not.
The two of them nod.
I believe
The
this.
bonding is a privilege for a select few. They too will live forever as long as they can drink my blood. Yes, they are somewhat tied to me, but that is an agreement that they went into without any sort of coercion.
I think it is possible that they were coerced and they did not know it. I think it is also perhaps possible that you coerced them without knowing it.
Just like myself when I was a human, I realized at one point there's only so much you can learn in one lifetime. So, after they fulfilled...
So they were tempted.
Tempted, but they earned the right over time. And I gave them all the information beforehand regarding what will happen if they do accept this gift. And what that means if they can no longer take my blood.
Thomas,
Yes?
why did you not feed all of them? Why did you decide only to feed a few?
I would speak with this one.
Yes. What would you know?
You spoke of the changing of the minds of men. How did you see this?
It's not me that saw it. It was my wife. You've heard of her, the Witch of the Woods, up north, Radamula? Yes.
Radamula.
The magics that she draws upon are created by the collective consciousness of the world, which then she would use to shape into
No,
the things that she desired.
you are incorrect.
How so?
She did not use their minds. She defied them. It was her will alone that created what she created.
Perhaps I spoke unclearly, but yes, she used her will to shape the collective conscious.
But you saw this happen away from the wood, her wood.
What I saw is that people have stopped believing in things like magic and superstition, as they call it. Things like the Fae, for example.
But the Fae are real.
But they do not believe they are real, and this belief gives them power.
My question to you is, who is it that's doing this?
That I cannot say. Perhaps it is simply the evolution of the human mind. Perhaps it is some force at work. I do not know.
It's a question that could take many years. Too many years for someone of a mortal lifespan as well.
Or you wish to tempt me as well?
No, just to make a point.
Perhaps if Radamula was still here, she could tell you the answer to that question, but she is not.
I have a question for you. What is it you see since the bird took your eye? What is different?
I see life,
You could not before?
not in this way.
Have I never told you the story of the Allfather? How he gave up an eye to gain wisdom, and through it became all-seeing.
I remember the story.
Yes, very similar.
Then what you see is that we are dead.
You are. No life thrives through you, yet you speak and move.
Not dead. Not quite. Merely souls bound to flesh that cannot move on. This is what you see. You inquired as to our nature. We have a gift, some would say a curse. Many argue about its source. I believe it comes from God. It is like giving a man a sword. He can use a sword to protect. He can use a sword to coerce. He can use a sword to destroy. Ultimately, the sword is a sword. The hand that wields it is where the blame lies, where the blessing lies. This gift, this curse, is one that I believe in general we use for the betterment of others and ourselves. So if you're looking to us as all-powerful saviors and deliverers, you're looking in the wrong place.
Like all these guys, and they like hide their heads down and shit.
But if you're
He
looking,
stands tall, he's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for men and women,
Perhaps it is
Indeed,
that
we
you
are
have
still-
some type of spirit, some type of soul that I have yet to see.
if the
But
tether that would
I
draw
tell
us-
you, man, there is no life in you.
yes,
You are all dead.
but our souls cannot move on, and thus we walk among you.
Perhaps that is what you are.
And yes, the hand that wields a sword is dangerous. But I feel like we've earned some trust. We have acted to protect you.
How many other Canaanites have these discussions?
Discussions about what?
The nature of magic, the belief of mortals.
Many would not concern themselves with the belief of mortals.
Many of them take the attitude of that the wolves do not care to hear the opinions of the sheep.
The hand that wields the sword is the only one that matters, is what they would say. I do not believe this.
Certainly there are the philosophers and those who seek after more knowledge among them, much as there are here.
So if it is not them, then it must be others. I will find them.
Then I wish you well on that quest.
And where will you look?
Where were these people that made reading known to others?
Look in any of the cities to the west.
Tell me the name of one.
We will probably pass through several.
Take your pick. Paris, Vienna, Berlin, even the cities of Italy, Venice.
Which of these cities would you say is a superstition, or as you would call it, the belief in the Fae, the most hated?
I would say Italy, the beating heart of the church. Such things would be heresy and witchcraft.
That seems most likely.
Rome.
I will find them there.
Although in Germany, they tell
what?
tales of the Fae.
I do not know.
Many of them
Here,
see them only as tales, though.
you can meet. I'm gonna call him Peter. I have his name.
Sure.
Another one of our order is in Rome.
Is he?
As a priest, he's not a Druun, he is a Canaanite. But he is part of the order. You can trust him if you wish to go to Italy.
There are people a part of the Order of the Blooded Stone that are not Druun?
Yes. Not many.
I can see that there is benevolence in your unbeating hearts. And I would not wish any enmity to you, but I forsake my vows.
Well, if you forsake your vows, you cannot go to Italy. You will have to return back to the Dolanwood.
You cannot stop me.
I do not wish to force it, but the humans don't, the mortals here in this realm, do not take kindly to your people.
You will not stop me. You can hear a hum start in the room.
Are you threatening me?
Only if you are threatening me. I will only defend myself if I am threatened. I will be free. You will not chain me. No oath will chain me, and no man will chain me.
As far as I'm concerned, go. It is up to him.
Thomas, hand on your shoulder. I can understand the desire to be free. I think others of us here can as well.
He opens his hands and sparks start dropping off of his fingers onto the stone.
Consider.
Consider what you're doing.
No. Though you have oaths that you don't want to follow, consider that there is wisdom behind them for your protection.
I do not forsake wisdom. I forsake bondage.
And that is why I say, take the wisdom with you.
You can take the wisdom with you.
I shall never forsake wisdom or knowledge.
If you wish to go to Italy, you can go.
I will go where I will.
I would caution you on one thing. Should you run across others of our kind, do not confront them. Leave them be, and they will ignore you. It could be very dangerous for you both.
Generations of stealth and subtlety run through my blood.
That as well.
And I still seek to keep the Dormwood hidden from the rest of the mortals and the Canaanites to protect your people. Will you not reveal the entranceway to the Dormwood to any others? That is the one thing I ask of you. If you can agree to this, you may leave.
I may leave if I choose to leave, but I will not betray my brothers.
Okay. Then you may leave.
There is safety in numbers. We are heading west, as you have heard, on a journey.
I will travel nowhere with this man.
As you will.
I wish you no enmity, and I hold no grudge against you, but I go.
As I said, heed my warning. Take caution should you run across others of our kind.
Thank you. He backs out of the room.
Godspeed.
Your other three dudes like roll up and they're just like huddling. They're like, "We're sorry. We did not know. We would have killed him in the wood if we had known. Like, we are sorry, master." We're like groveling.
Yeah.
Doing their thing.
He has been changed by the witch's magic. I tell them.
That's for sure.
They're like, yes, 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 yes.
I
Yes.
think-
We could see this. He made friendly with her husband. Yes.
It is good you did not kill him. I believe he is more now.
If anything, Radamula opened his eyes.
Agreed. Considering I had never seen sparks fall from any of the Druin's hands in all these years, I did not seek to test out whatever it was, what happened to him.
I'm unsure how wise it is to even let him go, though.
As long as he keeps his vow of silence on the gate.
Broken another vow or oath? What is to keep him from keeping another?
If he were initiated like Gorax or Palisek, I would have slaughtered him.
As I'm sure would be alright, but as far as it's been presented to me, you're a guardian of some sort to these people. And he has forsaken however many years of shepherding because of whatever his new level of perception has granted him.
He's still immortal.
Let me ask you this. Who would he tell his tale to? Who would believe him?
The reason why I've kept the Druin hidden for so long is because to normal mortals, they are too odd. They decapitate animals, they dissect them. To regular mortals, they would seem like madmen and would be incarcerated or executed.
Executed.
I will say only
They
this.
do not understand that there is wisdom within the beast and within the earth that tells us things.
I will say only
They do not
this.
understand because it tells them nothing. Because they do
No
not listen.
one who lives in chains and does not wish to should be required to. If he wishes to be free, let him be free.
And if he stays within the ranks, like a sickness, I can't let him spread his.
They're like, no.
The only people upon whom we force compliance are those who have proven to be enemies.
I can understand that, and I guess I am just a little bit more hesitant to let someone who has valuable information leave, since if another Canite sees sparks from the hands, don't know what reaction they would have.
Consider where he's going, though. He goes to, as I said, the beating heart of the church, where the Inquisition is still in full thrall. He goes to a place where if he speaks of other worlds, practices beheading animals, shoots sparks from his fingers, he'll be immediately branded as a heretic, a practitioner of witchcraft. He'll be burned at the stake. And no matter what power he wields, even the more elder among Canaanites would be hard-pressed to take on many hundreds or thousands of mortals.
While understandable, it is a long way by foot.
Yes, it is.
And he's
We
going
should
to have to.
know ill. And truth be told, the likelihood of encountering another Canaanite is fairly slim. We are not that numerous.
Very good.
And even if he does, they'll probably try to drink him first.
I don't know what drinking them would do. Is it anything different than normal?
They would feed on him.
Oh no, I'm just meaning they're through, and is there anything special to it, or is it just like another dude?
If they drank from him, they would get a little extra, but it wouldn't be. It would only be temporary.
I cannot help but imagine that one who's been touched by the magic of living things, seemingly, as Radamula, I wonder if the effect upon Canaanites would not be detrimental.
That we don't know.
That makes me curious. Has anyone drink someone that gains their power from the same place that Radamula gains her power?
Have you ever drank your wife's blood?
Of course I have.
What was different about it? Anything?
It's potent, but she does not give. She would not. Her power does not work that way. We are our kind are incapable of wielding the types of magic that she does. It's simply a fact.
I guess I'm just curious if drinking one person gives you the feeling of drinking one person, drinking someone like her, does it give you the feeling of drinking more than that? Do you get more out of less?
Certainly.
In some cases, yes.
That's the only curiosity. But I doubt that it's going to be enough to supercharge Canaanite. I don't know.
I have drank from many of the Droon, not to death, just the normal feeding. And I felt some power, but unlike the Droon, I have not been able to harness it. The only thing that it grants me is the ability to pass through the gateway, pass through the hedge without going mad.
Oh.
And to see these gateways wherever the realm of the Fae and the mortal realm are, wherever the barrier is thin.
Fair enough.
That is the only power that I have that I've experienced drinking from them.
And that is incredibly minor compared to the power that I have seen Radamula wield over the years.
Correct. The problem with the Droon is, again, they are unorganized. They don't pass on their knowledge to the generations. They do what they want in the moment, live, die, and that is it. I've been learning from them, writing down their rituals and their stories, and helping their generations to understand these stories and rituals. But
You must understand, she was very powerful. Is very powerful.
agreed.
She once summoned Thor himself for me to speak to.
Impressive, I suppose.
If you had seen it, you would be amazed.
I have no doubt.
When did that happen?
Several centuries ago. Not long before we had the incident with the Inquisition that resulted in me losing my princedom. It was that encounter that encouraged me to change my ways, to rethink my path as an immortal.
And then serendipity stepped in.
Indeed. When a god speaks to you, you listen.
That much is true.
It was Peter.
Okay. Well, if there's no concern from you all for this being, then I would not extend any myself.
We live long lives. We wield incredible powers. But still, the scope of that which we can directly control is very short. We cannot account for all variables. We cannot seek to control all persons that surround us. I think if this fellow wants to make his way to Rome and find his fate there, as I said to him directly, Godspeed.
Very well.
And if something happens in Rome, I'm sure my men there will inform me.
In the meantime, I suppose I could start teaching you English.
And we have a journey to prepare for.
Many of you already know Latin and many of the Germanic tongues. It shouldn't be that hard to learn. Although it is a very complex language in many ways.
Well, Jakub, your area of expertise is more geared towards this sort of thing than mine. How long would it take us to put together this expedition?
Oh, I'm certain I could have it together quite quickly.
Then we should plan accordingly. If we arrive early, they'll have time to secure a place for us to operate from. Perhaps make some acquaintances, maybe even allies among the locals. This would be wise. I would rather not go into this blind, much as we did with the convocation.
Yeah, I think perhaps we should wait at least until Lord Wilson makes contact with us. So
In
we
the
can pass
meantime-
on the knowledge we've gained.
In the meantime, we'll prepare for our journey, though. I imagine he'll be in contact with us before we leave. He has a way of knowing these things.
Indeed.
So Lord Volsa is next met by a character of y'all's choosing, as they're like just kind of standing on one of the balconies, the parapets of the castle.
Well, I guess it should be me since I'm the one that he's the one that asked me the favor.
Okay.
Asked me the favor.
So it's kind of one of those things where he's just standing there.
Ah, Lord Volsa. It's good to see you again.
Yes, Lord Father.
I traveled to my wife's domain
Yes?
to make your inquiry. Unfortunately, she has departed this world for the moment.
Right.
We had discussed this before, and her type of magic, you're familiar with it?
I understand there is something to this Magi.
Yes, much of their magic is governed by the collective belief of humanity. And they use their own will to shape it to their purposes.
Yes.
Collective will of humanity currently is shaping in an unfavorable direction for her kind. And as a result, she sees her power waning.
It is fighting her.
Yes, precisely.
Strange.
However,
You're sure this is the way? The way she has left? Because of this?
yes, we have had this discussion before.
Hmm.
Possibly it was something else, but I believe that if it was something else, she would have let me know. Regardless, Rose is sitting up on the peak of the roof up there, and I motion her down. She left a familiar.
That is good.
This is Rose. She has the knowledge, much knowledge, that Radamora wished to pass on.
Ah,
And I believe she can help with the problem of the blighted lands.
so Radamula makes strategic move.
Yes, though she is mortal, she has lived for centuries and not through being flighty.
Yes. Well, also, she shows us it is not only Canaanites who are at war.
Yes, the time of great change in the world, not just among Canaanites, but among mortals as well.
This bird, she lives with you now?
For the moment. However, she could assist you in fixing these blighted lands if that is something you wish. My friends and I will be making the journey to Thorns. You have heard of this convocation?
Yes. The Convention of Thor.
Yes. Hostad and his Camarilla have called this.
The hand will have an agent there.
I presume he will make contact?
Perhaps not.
Very well.
You have yet to be initiated.
That is true.
But he may choose to reveal himself. Or herself. I do not know who has been chosen.
Of course, we will cooperate as needed. Many of us are.
It would be good to have perspective of this thing that is occurring. It sounds pivotal.
For good or ill, we shall see. But regardless, the anarchs running rampant around the countryside, slaughtering mortals, elders, other Canaanites. All we can do is seek to draw the ire of the Inquisition, and that is something none of us can afford.
Yes, this madness must stop.
And regardless of our thoughts on this Camarilla, if we can put an end to this madness, so be it.
It will be important to observe whatever they decide. We will have to base our reaction upon this.
Well, be assured we will let you know what we discover.
I feel confident that our brothers will welcome you after all of the hard work that you have done, should you so desire, and should you willingly give up all of the information that you have and not wish to proceed to becoming one with the Tarmera, they will let you live. You have gone above and beyond what a normal initiate is expected.
Very well. Your assistance has been much appreciated over the last century.
We will stay allies for many centuries more.
Let us hope so.
Am I to speak with the bird for a time, or is the bird to follow me?
I would say I would prefer that she return to me, as she is the only connection I have currently with my wife. However,
Ah, I understand. Tell me the day that you leave for Thorns, and she will return to you before this time.
very well. And if it takes longer, so be it.
It will not.
You're tearing this up, you shithead.
Puppies.
Lord
Puppies ruin
Volsa,
it.
if I may.
You're gonna have to wander into the scene.
Okay, I'll wander into the scene.
Okay.
Lord Volsa,
Yes.
though we do not know where Radamula is at the moment, one of my followers has been what we may have been given a gift or a curse after her familiar plucked out his eye. Do you still have Grawl with you? The rape. The rape.
Oh yeah,
That
the wraith.
sacrifice.
Yeah. I know how to contact this man.
Since we are not following him, and since the bird is staying with Leifar, I would suggest if Grawl is willing, if he can watch this former follower of mine, maybe he will.
What harm are you afraid will become him? Has she caused antlers to sprout from his head?
No, I'm not concerned for any harm to come to him. What happens to him, but something
You
Something
say
has
he is,
changed him.
You say he is cursed?
that we don't know. Something has changed him.
What?
We don't know. He did not
He
give us.
says he has had his eyes opened. He sees us as different from from mortal stock. He says that he is able to see our kind.
And unlike the rest of his
Awaken.
Awaken?
Yes. Magi.
Awakened.
Oh, awakened.
Yes.
Oh.
I think that is quite possible, yes.
He is Magi now?
Possibly. He did not stick around long enough for us to find out.
That seems most likely.
In the old days, we had a saying around the fire. When you were young man, and also when you were young Canaanites, and also when you were old and wise Canaanites and had put the fire aside in exchange for moonlight. Do not raise the ire of wizards.
A most wise saying.
I would fear for the safety of this ghost were they to follow him.
Understood. I would not wish any harm to come to Grawl. Though he's no longer in my charge, I still...
There are many magi among the Talmera, and the only way to deal with them is through alliance and friendship, and whatever oaths they choose to follow. We cannot command them. They are our allies and brothers because they believe it to be right. We are fortunate for this.
That is good that we had let him leave. Maybe we will encounter him again and
Perhaps
ally ourselves once he's cooled down.
the Magi are mercurial.
I can vouch for that.
Even the bird starts going.
He's laughing, the bird is laughing along with Lord Volsa.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Of course he is. Why wouldn't he?
I turn to Rose. Rose,
Yes.
you will assist Lord Volsa?
Is I am to be servant and friends.
He requires your assistance.
Oh, I will provide it.
Yes. The blighted lands that he speaks of, they've been blighted most likely by the influence of Kupala the demon. My thoughts exactly.
All her feathers go fluff up on her neck.
He seeks your assistance in curing this blight. If you can offer any.
I will help. I will help.
Good. Then he will return you here in what? When are we leaving? Will we decide?
Whenever we tell him.
In 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
That will be enough time?
Are you talking to Volsa? Or
Both of
her?
them.
Or the bird?
Both of them, yeah.
Oh, well, the bird's like, yeah. Volsa's, of course.
Very well, Rose. This is Lord Volsa. He requires your assistance.
He holds his hand up, and the bird just right up to his hand, and he's just when the bird just right over on his shoulder. Very well. We will talk a time, and he just stares at the bird. The bird stares at him.
Okay.
Hey, bird! You see a little Hare Krishna midget out here floating?
All right, he's resting.
Volso is just going to stand there and talk to the bird.
By talk, I mean not talk at all.
For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. Just gonna hang out for 2 weeks and do nothing.
2
But do everything.
See, if the rest of you guys would just learn Protean 4,
Yeah, just
just
Yeah, protein.
Just get right on that.
we could all fly to England and we'd be there in a few weeks.
Let me just maybe
I tried
next
looking for a
June,
shortcut,
I'll get
another
there.
portal.
Look,
How much XP
all
would
I'm
that
saying
cost?
is,
How much XP would that cost? 80?
It's for non-clan disciplines. It's 6, 7 for the first dot, and
no, it's 10 for the first
10
one.
for the first dot, and then 7 for
Current rating times 7 for
Yeah.
each additional dot.
10, 7, 14, 21.
31.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, that'll take a while.
But then you're on the fast track. It still takes
Still
a while.
take 10
It
weeks.
takes a while.
It'll take 4 sessions
Why?
at least. And that's if
And that's
all
if I get...
that's all of your goals were accomplished.
Yes.
Is that why you were losing your shit?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes and no. I mean, as a former nobleman, I think I would have an issue with a peasant being like, nah, bitch.
Oh, yeah.
But,
He called you a peasant.
I just saw you sitting there like shaking your fists and stuff, and I was like, somebody's having fun
no,
at this game.
that was because I recognized exactly what he was
Uh-huh.
as me knowing that. He didn't.
Outside, yeah.
This is
full-
all
No, I
like,
figured-
I know what he is. He's this and this and this. Okay,
I figured.
got
I
it.
figured. Then I heard you talk about your goals. I thought maybe it was because you were hitting your
Oh.
goals when you did it. You're like, yeah, I got it. Yeah,
Partially. Yeah, the only thing I kept thinking when he was talking about us being normal was just like, yes, me.
Normal.
I normal. I look human.
No.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, sure.
Closest I could get to basically what I meant.
So anything else happen in the next couple of weeks of note?
I'll have you know.
Unless players are going to do stuff.
What we're
I'm
gonna
not
do?
far from being able to get Protean for.
You do it.
I only need like 2 more XP and I could buy it.
I was gonna work on Xerxes' eye, but
Nope.
no.
Nope. None of that anymore. That's not. You've worked on it.
It's been work.
You now know what's up with that.
So you have to do a Protean 5. That's the get out of jail free card. That's the I turn into mist and run away card.
All on the list. It's a long list.
Of disciplines.
Yes.
I just want them all. Can I
Yeah.
have them all at 5? No, you can't. We'd have to play this game for a long time for that to happen.
The game would be over by then.
Long time.
So yeah, sorry to crap on that thing, but
Not zero crapping on a pawn.
yeah, yeah.
No, not a thing. That wasn't crapped on.
He's not. Yeah. He's not.
That was the opposite of crapped on. Okay. It was like, I don't know. I guess the word would be exalted.
No. No, the word
That's
is
different.
awakened. Awakened.
Yeah.
As the opposite of crapped on.
Oh,
Exalted is a whole
I'm not saying.
that's
I'm
a
not.
whole other thing.
I know it is.
Let's go with elevated.
Let's put it this way: if he was exalted, we'd all be screwed.
Not what I said. Yeah.
By the name and power of the unconquered sun, I smite
He's
thee.
a sidereal dude. He'd be sitting there writing his scrolls, dude, like rewriting reality around you. It's all like, yeah.
You know,
okay,
sure,
yeah.
my
Just let me send this off to the bureaucracy. All right. So, by the way, just so you guys know,
I remember I had that one solar bolt where it'd be like 11 billion dice of damage to creatures of darkness. Guess we were creatures of darkness.
yeah.
Hey, suck about 50 dice of aggravated damage.
As we just talked about a little bit.
Have fun.
Burn you to a cinder with like a thought.
Vampire Elders versus
Like-
Solar Exalted?
Not even close.
No.
Not even close.
I'm sorry, Elders, you're cool, but you're not that cool. Yeah. You throw your worst at me, I perfect defense it, and then kill you.
They're just lower manifestations of the Bizzles, is what they are.
Yeah, much lower.
But so is everything.
Yeah.
Because Tolkien.
That's
It's all
Apple.
Tolkien's fault.
That's Apple.
It's diminishing of the ages. Like in every game ever.
Yeah.
Okay, so
hey.
you guys,
Not Shadowrun.
Not Shadow.
not Shadowrun, yeah, that's the opposite. But you guys are setting up. You're going to leave in 2 weeks. So even if you take the long route, you're going to be at least 5 months early.
Didn't we want to be early?
Yes.
Awesome.
Like super early?
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
'Cause
So do we
wanna
wanna take the
scout
fast
out
way?
and Scope out and have a headquarters and all that
Crack
kind of
the book. Let's find out what's
Yeah.
going on here.
stuff. Learn English. Best way to learn it is to immerse yourself in it, just like we learned Hungarian and Czech and all
And Greek. Greek was the first one you learned,
Greek,
yeah.
Man, my list of languages is pretty freaking huge.
I don't write them down anymore.
I just know them all.
You wrote them down?
Alan says you're going to learn
I wrote
this.
them down.
I
say,
have nothing
yes.
written down about
Chinese.
And I go, oh
Yes.
yeah, we learned this.
You guys learned Chinese.
that. I know languages.
And the many
Norse.
hells that we attended.
Norse, Greek, Hungarian, Romanian.
I in no
German.
way did that so that you
Chinese,
could do
English, and French.
weird Kindred of the East stuff in the modern day.
That's never
Never
happening.
happened.
Never happened. San Francisco? What is that? Hong Kong? Who cares?
What is this nonsense you speak.
Until then, it's my code language. No one else knows around here.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a super good
We write
language.
everything in Chinese to each other now.
Yeah, exactly.
No one can read it.
When we get to modern age, it'll be great for us all to be fluent in dead languages.
Yeah.
Super
So-
We can have a conversation with nobody.
No, none languages
happening.
Because I don't speak Latin unlike you guys. Actually, I probably should speak Latin by now. But
Yeah, probably. If you've been going west a little bit.
We teach you.
Just go ahead and put Latin on there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you had 21 years to be like, I'm traveling everywhere. You probably
No,
know
seriously though, because I did say that I've been doing a lot of academic stuff, and that's a
You
lot
would-
of that's
you
in
would need
Latin,
to know
so I
Latin.
would definitely know.
You would
Latin.
know Latin.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And if you needed teachers,
I'll teach you. All
Yeah.
my books are written in Latin. Now I can write in English and Chinese. I'm gonna have so many more medical books out there. Woo!
if you need a teacher, I'm probably not the best guy to go to because my intelligence is 2.
What would happen if Emmy
Mine's
started
only
learning
2, but
Chinese
that's
medicine
average.
too?
Yeah, 2 is
It's a fucking acupuncturist.
I thought about that.
about learning.
Don't.
I thought about that. I was like,
Actually, I have higher
acupuncture,
academics than I do intelligence.
East meets West. Woo!
So I
Read
only
a
got-
book.
I only got 2 intelligence, but 3 academics.
Okay.
Except
So-
I'm gonna have to change my name here soon. Gunther can't live that long.
Yeah.
Assume I would know Slavic,
Yeah.
Latin, and whatever language they all speak.
Yeah, they speak a combination of languages. Hungarian and what
Romanian.
we're calling what we're calling Romanian, which is a smattering of a bunch of different languages at this point, but we're just going to call it Romanian. Czech as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't forget Latin. Italian.
Latin, Greek, Italian. Oh yeah, I know Italian.
He's trying to figure out what languages he would know.
I know I would have Latin and Slavic, and then I imagine
Russian.
Russian wasn't really there yet.
Language of the Rus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slavic.
It's Slavic, yeah.
Yeah.
Because where are you from originally?
Kiev,
Kiev.
Kiev.
Yeah.
which is Lithuania right now. So,
I'm from Milan, which is Milan right now,
yeah.
which has been Milan for a long time.
I'm from Denmark, which is Denmark right now.
Hold up the map.
And they have the best dam in the world.
I know Italian. I learned Italian real quick.
So you guys, if you guys want to leave that early,
Well, married to an Italian.
you can afford to take the slow route by boat, which means that you will have 6 months to sit and study and practice whatever you want. So you can spend within reason whatever XP you want. If you've got it tanked up and you want to spend it, now's the time. It's a
say-
perfect justification.
I would say it would be better to take the overland
Oh,
route
what's
just
piece of shit?
to have more chance to catch rumors and things that are going on and all that stuff.
Get a flavor of the situation before we get to the meeting.
Because I mean, we're bound to run into
Yeah.
some other.
anarchs.
I mean, like happened with me and our other new friend with. Oh, I'm the princess post. Okay. Sure you are, buddy. Who made you poke with this stuff? Sure, I don't.
So is that what you guys want to do?
Well,
Yeah, I'd prefer
Just
that
take the
route.
super short overland route, because that's probably like 2 to 3 months, which will put you there 9 months or 8 months
We
early.
can go the boat route. It's fine.
Well,
I would only suggest taking the overland route and taking our time. Taking the time to visit some cities along the way. Because, you know, there are good things to learn in those places.
Even, you know what, if you're looking to stop at cities along the way, taking the boat route's the way to go. Because you still have to make ports for supplies.
several times.
And most
Yeah.
boats are not going to be like a long, open ocean voyage boats. They're going to be freaking coasters. They're going to go from port to port to port to port.
yes, however, that means you're going to be hitting all coastal cities.
Yeah,
And
but
most
that
of-
is where most of the big cities are.
That's where most of the big cities are, but that's not where the biggest conflict is.
That was my point.
Now, the problem is if you want to go through the conflict-ridden areas, it could involve getting into conflicts.
No.
Well, other people might.
I have no combat ability whatsoever.
I have very little, but I prefer to have a challenge.
I got no problem talking.
I got plenty of combat ability, but I don't go looking for fights.
I would say the northern water path. It avoids the most stuff. It's pretty fast, and it'd be fine.
It'd probably be best then to wait until spring to do it. Because it's like November right now.
You should wait until like April.
You should travel by land to get to Denmark.
And Emmy doesn't like boats, so she's like, let's leave in April.
Emmy doesn't like boats.
Emmy does not like boats.
Never
So
has.
Never has, never will. So sitting on a boat for 6 months, she's not too keen on doing that.
Like, and you're kind of boat brought that, boat brought that, boat brought that, boat brought that.
Yes, I wasn't on that boat.
You weren't on that boat.
So, who is interested in going the long, slow route so they have time to learn a bunch of stuff and do a bunch of stuff on the boat? Raise hands.
I have to learn stuff.
It doesn't help me.
One. Okay. Who is of a mind to wait until April and go the northern route with some boating through the northern lands, which will shorten your time, but be relatively relaxed, and it'll pretty much just skip us right into hanging out in England. One. Okay. Who wants to take the shortest route overland through the most conflict-ridden areas so that they can have a bunch of encounters, which I will devise for us, going all the way across land? Raise your hands.
Sounds good.
Okay, we have way too many people not raising their hands. This is bullshit.
I will side with Emmy.
Okay, switching your vote doesn't help me for the people.
Well, now it's
You
2
guys
versus 1.
are
We'll go with
bitches.
number 2.
All right, you want so. Okay, long route votes. Okay, now there's no votes. Okay,
We've all changed our minds.
northern route votes.
I don't care.
Three votes.
4
Northern
votes.
route. Yeah.
4 votes. Okay, and then
Motion carries.
2 people wanted to go to the conflict route. Okay, so
I'm sure we can still have some conflict.
that means that I will not have to devise a bunch of stuff for you guys, cool stuff for you guys to do, and we will get right to the England cool stuff. So if you leave in April, that gets you there in
What is 2 months by that trip?
2 months, 2.5.
June?
And you guys mentioned being chill about it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be mid-June to July.
June, July.
I'm just trying to think of what is actually faster if we actually wait till April to leave. We'd get there in July, but if it's now November,
Yeah.
so
It just turned November.
so we would if we took the long slow route, we would get there in May because that was 6 months for that. Do you want to get there in May or July? Because I thought the consensus was get there early as possible without going
Yeah,
massive
that's the
conflict.
case. We might as well go the long,
Yeah.
slow. The long.
Well, she just
slow
doesn't want to be on the boat that fucking long.
Yeah,
That's her whole.
there's a
boat.
there's a
that's
character
fair.
problem there.
I forgot about that part.
She'd rather stay at home in her big badass castle with her husband.
Pretty much.
Boats, I'll stay here for 4 months first.
I will come at a later time and leave in April, and I'll see you guys in July.
Okay, so we don't care that much about getting there that early.
I mean, if you guys really want to take a boat, I can get on a boat, and
Wait.
I'll just complain the entire time.
The only
Yeah,
The only-
nobody.
Are we bringing your husband?
Everybody has seen what you can become when you are angry enough, and nobody wants to do that.
Not on the open
And
water.
they are
However-
very smart for this reason.
However, the shortest the overland route with the most conflict, which means you'll probably turn into that the most, is the one that has the least voting.
Yes, I know. I don't want to do that.
So I mean,
it hurts to go to Zulu shape.
But at least
It's
she's
not fun.
It's not fun.
no.
It hurts. But being on a boat hurts too. But David, to answer your question, David comes if he wants to. I do not make him. I always invite him.
Well, I know you never make him, but he
Yeah.
just,
He usually follows.
yeah, he
usually
follows
comes
where,
along.
he's like, where do you want me to go? And
Yeah.
that's where I'll go. Like,
I was like,
Well, I just
"We're
figure if we're
going."
going the long boat, he should come.
Yeah.
So that he can be there for that.
Oh, it doesn't matter. She complains.
Fair enough.
But David doesn't mind if she complains. We've been married for like 350 years or something, so I mean.
oh yeah, he takes his time away too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Join the Black Hand and stuff.
Yeah. He did his little secrecy stuff that we had no idea.
Hanging out with a bunch of wizards.
Yeah.
It was funny that nobody consulted him about the wizards.
Oh, I thought about bringing it up, but I was like, nah, I'll let him.
Now it's just going to be a
let
question.
him
Does it be
squirm.
brought up on the trip? Because that's going to be a lot of questions.
We can role play whatever you want along the trip if you got questions you're trying to ask him.
Oh
too.
no, I'm totally down to ask all of the questions about history, about the group, and all the organizations and everything. It's just a matter of if I don't know it in character, I can't bring it up. So it has to be brought up to a degree. And if we're playing out some of the conversation of going, I could totally talk about how you guys met Volsa and whatnot. But that's if we want to role play the trip, which I don't care.
Okay, honestly, that's a metagame question. Is are you going to try to bring this new character in on the whole fucking Black Hand subplot?
I don't think it would be our place to do so.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If Lord Volsa wishes it to happen, then it will happen.
Since Lord Volso is the one that brought him in the first place.
Yes, but we can't assume.
And we're still
That's what I'm
initiates. We
saying.
can't bring up the order unless we're in the order at minimum.
First rule of Fight Club.
Yeah,
Don't talk about Fight Club.
exactly.
Black Hand, I don't know what you're talking about.
The what?
The what?
But just wash.
I mean, he has one, but that's
Yeah, that's a different Black Hand.
I have a Black Hand.
Yeah.
You're more, aren't
I
you?
have 2 Black Hands.
Plus, he can't see the mark.
Thanks,
So he
again. I
doesn't
have 2
know.
Black feet.
He doesn't know what the marks
You
on
mean a
our
Black
hands.
Shadow Hand? Yes, he does.
Well, that's a whole different thing. I have like
Exactly, that's what I
Well, we
said.
don't have a mark.
quite a few of
That's
those.
different, yeah.
It depends.
So we have time for one little quickie scene if we want, or we can call it now and just go with stuff next time. Because
We got to wrap by 11.
we got to wrap up fairly soon,
Oh.
and I'm looking to get whatever stuff you're going to do these months before the trip, or not the trip, but these months before the actual first meeting, which is in October.
So I'm assuming we prep and
Yeah.
learn English and
You learn English, you get all your wagon train stuff set up, and
I learned English and more protein.
okay, you can do your protein. That makes sense.
Yep.
So you're doing podium for cool.
So
Might as well. I'll have enough XP after the session, so.
the same thing that was
I haven't
used.
gotten to the last two
I,
times.
was the same thing
I'm
that
gonna
was
kind
used
of,
when-
I'm gonna kind of fast train a little bit of this, but you guys, upon getting to to that area, you guys are gonna meet with. You're gonna have to initiate the meet, whatever. You'll initiate the meet to meet with Father Samuel. He's abbot of the Abbey of the Sacred Crown and Prince of Southampton. And he's the one who's going to be the host for the Convention of Thorns. And you guys have absolutely eclipsed anyone in getting there. So he's a little bit taken aback. Didn't know anybody was going to get here real soon. He's a pretty polite guy.
Right. Yeah.
So he'll welcome you and then kind of so what do you intend to do for the next few months?
Talk to everybody.
So, is there a castle available to rent or be some
Oh God.
He regretfully informs you that no, there is not a
And then I tell
castle.
Thomas, start building.
That might be a problem.
I think we're
All of a
gonna
sudden
be
we
here
have the
at
castle
that.
itself.
I'm kidding. Oh my gosh, I'm kidding.
It's
However, you probably do have time to build something if
Yeah.
you want. Maybe not a castle.
No,
but
no, no. But we build like a place for us to gather and congregate and live. If we're gonna be there a couple months,
Okay.
because I'm not gonna live with somebody else. I know how to build.
And I was worried that you guys wouldn't send them enough money to get your room rented.
I'm pretty sure we got plenty.
Based on the
You do
name,
now.
like, are Protestants already a thing? I don't remember.
Oh hell yeah!
Yes.
Is what?
The Church of England was formed in the 1300s, I think.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
this place is very Protestant.
no
It's
Inquisition.
not quite Martin Luther time,
1534.
but
No, but Church of England is very Protestant.
is when?
1534,
Oh, 1534.
Oh, well, not yet.
Not yet.
It's getting
Yep.
close.
because that's
It's getting
after
close then.
Martin Luther by a bit.
Well, Henry VIII formed the Church of England
Yes.
because he wanted to divorce his wife. So that was not yet. Okay, so yeah, right now
What
it's all
year is it
Catholic.
right now? Is this 1492?
So it is still Catholic.
1493.
Oh, 1493.
Yeah,
we
just
have
crossed-
we have inched over.
Well,
Just
I
crossed
was just wondering if it's. Oh, that's right, because we moved. Okay.
Yeah.
Columbus has found the other place.
After my people did centuries ago. Thank you very much.
Yes, we know. La la la.
Yeah, except for the fact that your people found a crazy Fey realm because they sailed off of the end of the earth. Whereas when Columbus went, it was after Galileo, and Galileo rounded the planet.
Uh huh.
Well,
Right.
that's
With his. Oh, it's round
Yeah.
now.
sounds about right.
Thanks, Flat Earther.
Right.
So he's
Yes.
Oh my
5
gosh.
pips and like 4 different magics.
There's nothing to prove that the world was round before Galileo made it round. I'm
Turns
just
out-
saying, dude.
Except for the ancient Greeks. I mean, other
Yeah, I was about
than
to say. Yeah.
Thank you, Tube. Thank you.
So there were enlightened magi amongst the ancient Greeks, and they were prophesizing the future because they had time magic.
they had simple geometry.
It's not simple geometry.
Yes, it is.
Oh, now you sound like you're a part of the technocracy. Motherfucker. I knew you were a fucking piece of shit. No, I'm just kidding.
Rip off that human mask, show us your wizard
Son
skin.
of a- Who was it? Aristophanes?
Show me your suit, men in black.
Determine the circumference of the Earth within like 100 meters or something like that?
Yeah.
No way, dude. Willowdart is flat until Galileo, dude.
Yes. I don't buy it.
Dude.
That's how it works.
I like that.
And the Greeks didn't have a shit about it being around because the fucking technocracy went back and rewrote history, dude. Bitches.
What followed Atlantis, man?
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that's a
They had all that shit on lockdown.
All that shit locked out. Okay, so you guys are gonna build what, like a fort or a?
A nice little estate.
I say we buy the estate and then
Castle,
modify
but
it.
enough space
A little
to accommodate
house?
all of us. Yeah.
Little house type
Yeah.
stone building of
Yeah.
some type? Yeah,
I mean, we got Master Mason over here.
you certainly do.
We'll buy a building and I'll modify it. I'm not spending 6
I'm
months
sure we-
building.
I'm sure.
I need time to rest.
Like there's not a building to buy.
Oh, there's
No,
not.
there's
There's
not.
not.
There's some land, and I'm saying
There's some
this is
land and
ours.
there's some houses in a nearby town. There's this abbey.
Well, good thing I have 3 other masons with me.
Exactly. This is why I said chop chop. Let's start building.
So you guys can build that. Yeah, like unfortunately, you're not gonna get any FaceTime with any of the other people who are coming because they're not gonna be here for months.
And that's fine.
However, you guys can talk with Father Samuel, and Father Samuel is well versed in all the different types of people who are coming. So, who wants to charm him?
Pax.
Okay, give me charming Father Samuel here.
Don't say anything blasphemous. Don't
Oh
say
my God, we're
anything
rolling
blasphemous.
dice.
Don't
What does
say
this
anything
game come
blasphemous.
to? We can't just resolve everything with looking at dots and talking. We probably could.
Charisma and
First row of
expression.
houses, and then we build
Huh?
the first
Charisma,
proper
expression?
English
Yes.
estate. And then we put up our puppet lord for man use.
Am I asking too much?
This is why I want you to
build
play
a house?
vampire with me, right
Yeah,
here.
we can build a
Right
house,
here.
not quite a
I've seen how you
castle,
play
but
that.
a
No,
house.
literally a castle. I was kidding. I was kidding about the castle. Just a nice house.
I get to stay indoors
Well,
for
Girl
the
has
next
her
6 months.
expectations.
In-
She's gonna live with all these guys for the next 4 months again. Come on,
Yeah,
she needs some space.
yeah.
I'm saying, row of houses, we'll build the first estate.
Okay.
Yeah.
4. For benefit of people that can't see me doing 4 on my fingers.
We were playing
That's
for
how
a
far.
sec.
Yeah, microphone though doesn't see 4.
So I will say then that gives you access to knowledge about the founders of the Camarilla, who you know are going to be there. And I'll cover them in a moment. Actually, we might even just role play some of his knowing about them next time, if you'd like. But he'll tell you that they're the members of 7 different clans: the Bruja, the Gangrel, the Malkavians, the Nosferatu, the Toreador, the Tremere, and the Ventru. And Harstadt represents the Ventru. Adana de Sofroza represents the Bruja. Milov Petrenkov represents the Gangrel. Camilla Bangs represents the Malkavian. Josef van Bauren represents the Nosferatu. Rafael de Corazon represents the Toreador. And then Mistress Fanchon represents the Tremere.
You're gonna have to like put all that in the Facebook group.
Yeah, I will do that. Of course, also you're going to get a little bit of somewhat of a brief about them, and we can do that either next game or we can do it in flashback as you're playing through the game. And then your 4 successes will give you access to information that he has about 4 other delegates who are coming, who he thinks are important, but it's going to take a certain amount of guidance and questioning from you as to who, like what you're looking for. Because he's like, well, there's of course there's the founders, and then, who else are you interested in?
Right. Okay.
So do you have an idea who else you might be interested in knowing about ahead of time?
Not yet. We'll have to discuss.
So, one thing, well, I obviously want to be privy to that conversation as well.
You can't. It's secret.
I have no desire to build houses. I don't give a crap about that. So, when they're doing that, one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to head up into London and sort of feel out the terrain, so to speak, see what's going on locally and all that.
Camarilla,
Yeah.
all the way.
Just sort of
Pretty much everybody's
feel things
Camarilla.
out.
Camarilla.
Also go spend some time at my old stomping grounds
The
at
prince
Oxford.
is really behind it.
Spend some time on my old stomping grounds in Oxford and do a little studying as I want to do. Maybe meet up with some of the people I knew there and
Okay.
see if I heard anything rumors mortal-wise.
Okay.
I think I would actually go with you on that front because I'm always curious to learn what there is to learn. I only do so much from my towers.
When I'm not building the house, me and the other Droon are just going to walk around the land, villages, whatever, close by, just to see if there's if we can sense any trods nearby or any rumors of any trods.
You can collect some tales about fair folk and things of that nature, but
no
nothing real serious. Okay, what do you think, John?
About who we want to talk to or know about?
Yeah, who you're trying to figure out. This is like convincing him to give up the goods a little bit ahead of schedule.
So who is coming representing the Anarchs? Did we learn that?
You did learn that.
Okay, sorry. I wasn't listening all that well because I was scribbling something.
Oh, you scribbling.
Let's learn about that.
Okay, there's lots of different representatives from the Anarchs that are scheduled to attend. Can you clarify further who you might be interested in finding out about?
Who was there from the Anarchs?
He's not going to list off the names of all the Anarchs, and that probably leads to at least a week or so of him thinking that you're a conspirator and trying to sabotage the whole thing. But of course, you bring, you convince him that that's not the case and whatnot. And long story short, you need to be more specific about what you would be looking for as far as Anarchs go.
Okay. So
things like clan or where they're from or stuff like that is the kind of thing that's going to cause him to give up information.
Which 7 clans were mentioned before? Obviously, Venture, Gangrel, Bruja.
So it's
Not mine.
yeah, it's Bruja, Gangrel, Malkavian, Nosferatu, Toreador, Tremere, and Venture.
So the typical camera.
Yes, the original.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
I want to know if there's anyone from like the Tzimisce, the Sombra, any of those clans coming.
yeah, who's representing the
Setites.
Sombra?
The La Sombra have several representatives because there's several different viewpoints.
Lucita,
One of them being
obviously.
Lucita de Aragon, but that's not going to count as one of your one.
Because I already knew she was coming.
Yeah, because you already knew she was coming.
Yes.
One of their chief representatives that's going to come and speak on the Anarch's behalf of the La Sombra is Bishop Alfonso of Venice.
Dun dun dun.
I literally didn't see that coming when you said La Sombra.
Here we go.
Can be interesting.
I was like, this will be funny. Yeah, it did happen.
All right.
AKA
Involved with getting my brother killed.
Let's see how that changed.
Yeah.
Okay, that was one. You get 3 more.
How about your peeps? Setites.
Yeah, is there anybody coming from among the Setites?
From among the Setites, there are 3 representatives coming, one of them being a servant of the other 2, Catal the Wanderer,
There you go.
and Pax Montalis.
That guy. I heard
That guy.
Lux Montalis, sorry.
Oh.
Lux Montalis.
That's what I thought you were going to
Yeah,
say.
Lux Montalis, pardon me.
That's the ooh, that's your uncle.
Not really.
Well,
He
no,
said
but
he
he's
was.
the one that yeah, but he's the one that embraced you.
That's much better.
Oh snap! This is gonna be amazing.
Shit's gonna go down.
Shit is going to go
That's
down. You better be writing this down.
Oh, I think I'll remember. Talk to me about Tremere.
Tremere. So one of the founders is a Tremere. And what was her name again? I need to learn it too.
I know Jakku would want
Mistress
to
Fancone.
You better write that down.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have her in my head already.
And then let me see. I'm looking over.
What I need to know is how far is the treachery of Jakub reached. That's what I need to know.
Wide.
Yeah.
the Bishop Sorando.
I need that page.
Well, what about the Samitsi?
That's what I was wondering about, actually.
Representing the Anarchs, one of their absolute most vocal supporters
Someone I probably know.
is Micah Vikos.
Micah Vikos.
Knew it.
Oh, of course he would not miss this for anything.
I don't need the dirt on him. Well, I don't know. What is the dirt on him?
The dirt on him is there is absolutely no one more fervently in support of the Anarchs than him.
That's where he's been.
That makes sense.
But yeah.
Oh, cousin Micah.
All right, who's got some desires?
Everyone got desires.
I know. Let's hear them.
Well, let's see. I wanted to learn more about the Camarilla.
Sure, yeah, that happened for sure. You learn the names of the 7 founders,
Yeah.
which is something I played this game for like 10 years without learning. Before I learned any of them. Maybe not
Use some of the knowledge gained in my travels to help the group.
Yeah. There was a lot of that.
And then this one I left over from last time because I thought it was still appropriate. Is just help some of our newer companions assimilate into the group.
Sure, I saw some of that. That was great. Yay! What about you, new guy? Yo, Casey.
I stuck with the same ones because still so new. So
That's fine.
learning the magics of the world. Learn.
There was some of that, wasn't there?
Yep, that's the big.
That was a
lot
long
of
conversation.
Yeah,
Learn more of the
than I
history.
anticipated, but it was great.
Yeah. Learn more of the history of the Canaanites and further the trust of the group with me. I have an argument for that one if you have an issue.
Group, does anybody feel like he has earned their trust?
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
You don't have to earn the entire group's trust, but I saw you trying.
Yeah.
I saw you trying to earn it, and it was earned. So there you go.
The fact that you come by recommendation of Lord also goes a long way. So there's
In
Ain't
some
let us
ways,
wrong
it
yet.
Yeah, he's a little choosy.
So all three.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but how many of all 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're on the old progression. Okay, let's start over again. You're on the old school progression. I like that. Okay, what's the first one again?
Learn magic of the world.
Oh, 3 all the way because you just like there was a whole like that conversation almost died and you put another hour on it.
Learn more of the history of the Canaanites.
2.
Okay. And gain more trust in the group. From the group.
How many people trust him?
Sure.
3. Awesome.
Cool.
We'll give you sack you up a whole bunch of XP in the beginning so you can buy some shit.
You can almost buy a new discipline.
I actually can. I have 14.
Well, I mean from what you got today.
Oh, yeah.
From 1 day's worth.
You are correct.
All right, Jakub, what do you got?
Not
Oh, I know
too
you're
much.
squirming right now, though.
Oh yeah. Breaking any chains that bind my Welsh Tremere. I talked about hating my blood there a little bit.
You did.
The only other one I have written down is imparting knowledge through lessons of pain, and I thought about it, but I don't think I really.
No, dude, you were talking about like they were talking about going to Dolanwood, and you were like, no, wasn't that the place where you totally got your
right.
ass whooped? And yeah,
Fair enough.
Yeah,
There you
no,
go.
that's
I got
totally a lesson of pain. It was an old one, but it was like reminding them, like, remember all that crap you did?
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not doing this again. We
Yeah.
ain't going through that shit.
You need to meet the worst people there.
And I'm just like,
And you're like, we need to
we'll
meet
be
the worst
careful.
people to get out of it. No.
Yeah,
They'll be careful. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
be careful.
We'll just go
Bye.
talk to the Fae Lords. Sure.
Bye.
Great idea.
I'm sure the Summer King will love us.
Yeah.
By the way, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I
Do you know about that
go
setting?
I know a little bit.
Wormwood?
I know not entirely. I know more that there's the seasonal kings,
Yeah.
and that just sounds like fun to go
Not a
talk
lot.
to.
We missed shit crap ton.
Dude, have you ever read that Hans Christian Andersen? The Winter
That's the thing we actually don't know.
Which one's that?
Or the Snow Queen?
This is the first time we've heard of him
Dude.
in, I don't know,
But yeah.
centuries.
I remember that
All
scaring me
right,
as a kid.
Tosh.
I still have one from off the other game.
You gotta make some new ones, man.
No, I do.
Or not. I mean, I tell you what, one of my Thursday players has had the same desires for like 2 months. So
No, well, because my last one was to help change Jakku. I did that.
yeah, you did that. So
Yeah.
put a new one.
I did put to travel more.
Yeah, absolutely. That yeah.
Plans for that.
You went all the way across the
Yeah.
known world.
It's doomed.
And then I still try to work on losing the humanity to change the roads. Nothing happened there. So.
Yeah. Alrighty. Pax. Whose name I got confused.
I know, it's cool. So,
Whatever. I suck.
I wasn't
the worst
kick-
game master ever.
Oh yeah, you're horrible. I wanted to learn more of my coteries' motivations. That's why I was picking your brain about the.
Yeah. That was cool. That was cool.
That was. So what I'm trying to do is have a desire that that involves the other players, a desire that's just me, and a desire that's involves NPCs.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to preach the gospel. I did that.
Yep.
And I wanted to learn about the anarchs and their leaders.
Oh, yeah.
I did that.
Learned about a couple of their leaders.
Yeah.
One of them is your friend. The other one is really not.
But the one who's my friend, is he not doing exactly what he said he would do?
Yeah.
Ha! Ha!
Yeah.
F that guy, man.
All right. Did anybody I forgot?
Let's see, find Radamula.
Sort of. It was a part of the story for sure. So yes.
I mean, I saw
you
a lot
get
of
XP for it.
I saw a lot of Radamula in
There's a lot of Red Bull in the story.
in his yeah.
Expand the Order of the Crimson Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, that happened in a fucking big way.
No, I don't know. This one is kind of like what happened in the Far East. Use necromancy or sacrifice someone to accomplish a goal. He left, but
You kind of sacrificed him.
Yeah, let him go instead of just.
That's kind of that's still kind of a sacrifice.
Okay.
That's still kind of a sacrifice. I'll give you that one.
I
So
suspect we ain't heard the last of him either.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Oh, no.
I
Yeah, I
imagine
expect
him
to
being
see
the
him.
kind of NPC that you could interact with again. Right now, your relationship with him is crap.
Yeah.
In particular.
Well, yours is.
Yours,
He
yeah.
thinks we're
Yes.
cool, but not you.
yeah.
You're
Yeah,
dick.
slave
You're
driver.
cool.
But you guys don't forget, and this is I'm
Yeah.
saying this. I've said this before, but I'm saying this to you
Yeah.
because I want you to remember it. That every relationship in this game is potentially mutable.
Okay.
In theory. Now, some people are who they are, and maybe you being who you are is always going to make you enemies or friends with them.
Yeah.
But it is possible. Like, people change in this game a lot. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wonder how Alfonso's doing.
yeah.
He's fallen pretty hard. Who knows? He might be tolerable now.
Well, look at Mitchers.
I wonder
Find
how
out.
I'll
We
feel
wanted to
seeing
kick
him
Mitchell's
again.
ass, and we did, and drove him out of his own domain, and he came back, and we're buddies now.
hmm
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna sick some werewolves
So,
on
just,
you guys.
just because
That
he's,
wasn't
you know,
such a good
all
idea.
pissed off and hating you right now, doesn't mean that he is a D&D villain that you have to slay when you get to a higher level.
Yeah.
Lux, on the other hand. Screw that. I don't know. Honestly, I feel like after 200 years, Max doesn't really care too much. Maybe he does. I guess we'll find
We're
out.
gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. I don't know. Isn't that exciting? All right.
You're all welcome for
What?
a place to live in England too, by the way, a-holes.
Are you still on record or you shut
I'm
it
still
down?
on it. Yeah, I haven't turned it off yet. Yeah, if there's anything I do, I try to keep my my NPCs alive,
Yeah.
not just
Makes it interesting.
yeah.
Well, I don't know. I can talk with the dead at least.
World of Darkness kind of.
Yes.
Those conversations are interesting.
Any other question?
I'll make, dude.
My character.
Let's just say after the Council of Convention of Thorns is done, I will very easily throw this whole game out the door and start playing Wraith, dude. I love Wraith so much, dude. All right.
I don't know about all that.